As tensions spike across the region, I quickly want to cut across to Israel. Joining me on this India Today special broadcast is Nir Barkat, Minister for Industries in Israel. Minister Barkat, welcome. You've called for full force continuation of strikes against Iran. You've described the current situation as a critical opportunity to behead the regime. Sir, with the conflict now in its second week, involving direct US participation, what is your assessment of the military progress so far, especially at a time when Iran has appointed Mujtaba Khomeini as the next leader?
Well, thank you for hosting me. I want to remind us all the challenge. The Iranian regime, the Nazi regime, declared 47 years ago that they want the full destruction of Israel. They call us the little Satan. The United States is the big Satan. And all non-Muslim countries are all on the same line. They are executing. They've executed and went a long way to create a nuclear bomb in order to use it against us. Now everyone understands the big threat of the ballistic missiles that they've been using against Israel and around the region. And they've been funding and developing and investing the biggest funder of terror around the world in Hezbollah in Lebanon, in Hamas in Gaza, and other proxies, the Houthis and others, all for the goal of the elimination of the state of Israel. And now there's a huge opportunity now, now that we're working with the Americans and the collaboration between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu is second to none. There's a window of opportunity to dismantle that evil leadership in Iran, and we're totally committed in order to do that. We've started it, and we're in the path of success.
But past 10 days, was the impression that the moment Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is killed, thousands of people will take to the streets, there would be a revolution, and there would be a regime change? That doesn't seem to have happened. On the contrary, they're not only fighting back, they've got a new supreme leader in place. Ayatollah Mujtaba Khomeini is the new supreme leader. Is that a setback to Israel and America's planning and operations in your view, sir?
Well, the primary goal of the United States and Israel is to eliminate the threat with ballistic missiles, the nuclear threat, and the support they give to our region to make sure that the proxies are starved and eventually also eliminated from our region. That's the primary goal. And what we're focusing on is focusing on the regime, focusing on the leadership. The new leader, I believe, his life expectancy is probably very, very short. Because as long as they believe in the destruction of Israel, and their goal has not changed, that leadership is a target for Israel and the United States. And actually, again, we're not just fighting for ourselves. So eventually, if and when the regime will change and be replaced, we would be more than happy.
Okay. The IRGC continues to fire missiles to target Israel and US interests in the region. Any indication that you have that Iran is weakened after 10 days of intense bombing? Or are there apprehensions as Iran warns that it will target Israel and US interests in the region with newer generation missiles? And do you see the targeting of desalination plants as an escalation, Minister?
Well, I think everyone with his open eyes understands that Israel and the United States control the sky. And the targeted attacks that we are making are targeted against the regimes, against their capabilities, against their ballistic missiles, their launchers, anything that the regime has that suppresses the people of Iran, from our perspective, is a target, and we're going after them. We will not stop until we take them all out. That's the one thing. On the other hand, you can see that our defense is relatively probably best in the world. It's unfortunate today we had another 2 people killed. But what Iran is doing, they're not focusing on our military. They're focusing on civilians. The indiscriminate ballistic missiles they're firing on Israel are killing civilians. and we're focusing on the regime. Huge difference. No
Except-
doubt in my mind that
except-
they're getting weaker and weaker by the minute.
Except that Iran says 175 little school children were killed, young school girls were killed in a Tomahawk cruise missile attack. Do you foresee that this would lead to retaliation where more civilians may be targeted either in Israel or in the wider Gulf region? And do you see Mujtaba Khomeini as perhaps continuation of the existing hardline policies of Ayatollah Khomeini, or do they become even more hardline in your assessment?
Well, just to remind you that just a few months ago, they killed over 30,000 people of their own people. The regime killed over 30,000 innocent civilians. Now they're targeting our civilians. We're not targeting civilians. And there's a question, I believe that it's probably it was an Iranian missile, a missed missile. And in any case, Israel and the United States don't target civilians. So if it's one way or the other part of war, it happens. It's not our intention. We are focused and we know what we're doing. We're going after the bad guys, not innocent civilians.
Minister Nir Barkat, when we look at the impact on the wider region and not just restricted to the West Asian region or the Middle East, look at the prices of oil. They're moving towards $120 per barrel. There's curtailed output in the Gulf regions. The Strait of Hormuz remains shut. Any further escalation, do you think this would have a catastrophic effect not just on the region, but on the world? Is there any road to peace in your view, sir?
The goal is to defeat the regime in Iran, okay? Now, short term, they're putting the pressure. Iran is putting the pressure. Once we get rid of the bad guys in Iran, that leadership, things will go back to normal. So short term, there's a bit of a challenge, but it's not going to deter Israel and the United States from our goal, which is to target that evil regime, that Nazi regime that took responsibility for the attack October 7 in Israel. These are the people. And once we remove them, things will go back to peace. And I believe also we'll see an expansion of the Abraham Accords. So the peace-seeking countries in the region will all win together and create the new corridor, the new IMEC corridor, expand the Abraham Accords. This is what we're seeking to accomplish immediately after, or even in parallel, to our defeating the evil regime in Iran.
So is there a time frame that you have in mind? Is there an off-ramp that you have in mind? What is it that America and Israel could do differently? What is it that Iran could do differently? Or countries of the region? Is there any off-ramp in your view, sir?
Well, naturally, we would be happy to see other countries join this just war. Okay, there were many Gulf countries that were targeted. They've done nothing wrong. If they help us, and if other countries join, and in defeating the regime, the faster we do the job, the easier it is. It's going to be for the region and for the whole world. So the problem is the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people that we believe are peaceful people. We had peace with them in the past, and we'd like to see that come again, and certainly not in the region. And the more people unite with the United States, with the leadership of the United States and Israel, the faster we get the solution, the faster the peace will arrive.
You know, since you mentioned IMEC, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, there were reports that Iranian missiles targeted Haifa. So is that a setback to IMEC? And do you look at some silver lining in this very difficult period? The progress, if at all, on FTA with India? You described the FTA negotiations as making history, and you've talked about the strategic partnership between India and Israel, and your personal friendship with Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. Can you explain how that is moving forward?
Well, sure. Remind you that just before the war started, the day before it started, we were honored to host Prime Minister Modi, which has an amazing, excellent relationship with our Prime Minister Netanyahu. Our goal is very clear. It's not going to change. We are both ancient people with a lot of rich history, a lot of respect to each other. Today, I could say that our innovation and new ideas with the scope and the scale of India, 1 + 1 = 10. We both countries understand that very well. We don't look at India just as a 1.4 billion largest country in the world, as maybe probably already the third largest economy in the world. But we see India as a gateway to other countries in the region in Asia. So we're both gearing our strategies and our economies to collaborate together and to make that 1 + 1 = 10. I spoke to my friend Minister Piyush Goyal last week. I want to thank him for the empathy and for the support. And also we discussed how do we boost the free trade agreement that we're now negotiating. And I believe that we have an opportunity maybe to finish it maybe as soon as this year, which is very, very short. The businesses, both on the Israeli side and in India, are expecting to see us move fast because the opportunity is there for us, regardless of the challenge we have with Iran. This is on track, and I'm very happy to say that I'm very optimistic, by the way, on both fronts. Us winning the war with Iran and expanding the Abraham Accords, and of course, collaborating with India to a new, bright, huge future together.
And you see IMEC get back on an even keel. Would you give a time frame, the end of this conflict, return to normalcy for India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor to take shape?
Oh, we're not waiting. The Israeli government we have some teams working on the concept, at least on our part, entering Israel in Bet She'an, that's a city with a border to Jordan, and then going to Haifa, and then focusing on how it leads to Europe. We've already started planning our part in this initiative, and we've been negotiating and speaking to the Emiratis and of course the Indians, and we're not waiting. We're sure that this will eventually come, and we've already started the planning.
But is there an apprehension that this war could actually escalate very drastically, the kind of military hardware that is now being mobilized, the B-1 bombers, the B-2 bombers, the B-52 bombers, and will it remain an air campaign, air and missile campaign, or will America and Israel at some point of time look at boots on ground for a faster closure to this conflict in your view, sir?
Well, I'm not sure that discussing our options is prudent to do in the show. I'm sure that Iran is watching the show, and I'm not going to give them too many details, but they must expect many surprises on the way. Remember that Israel attacked twice. We surprised the Iranians twice by going after their leaders. We attacked and surprised Lebanon, the Hezbollah in Lebanon with the beepers. Expect surprises, and they should be concerned. Once they drop their weapon, things will be okay. I mean, the world will come back to order. But right now, we're really focused on winning this war with the evil Nazis of Iran. And there's no doubt in my mind, that this will eventually happen because we have no choice. Israel has no choice but to win and to remove this obstacle. And that's why we will win.
Minister Nir Barkat, Industries Minister of Israel, for joining me here on this India Today special broadcast. Many thanks, sir.